Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Guys, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. What is this? Let me do audio. I don't like the way this. Okay. So, hi everybody. Happy Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday. This is Migrant Crisis Wednesday, and Sister T. So yeah, honey, we're gonna stay on this Minnesota fraud. We gotta ride Minnesota a little while longer because this is the biggest fraud scandal. Well, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest fraud scandal in American history. Now, we have had a whole lot of scandals, and I need to do a show, America's biggest scandals. Ooh, let me write that down before I forget. America's biggest scandal or fraud scandal, corruption. Yeah. Dealing with money. Honey, but my pen is running out of ink. All right, so tilt that hat for Artemis. No, honey, I am classic. I'm doing the classic style. I'm not Judge Joe Brown. He's the one that tilts the hat. No, I like the classic. You see that? I gotta get my nails done. Never mind my nails, honey. It's classic. I like the classic fit. But thank you, news reporter. Yes, honey, I'm back on my Cowboy Carter hat. I'm in my Cowboy Carter season. Yes, this is the look for the Migrant Wednesdays. This is the look. So I have Man Up Mondays. That's Political Mondays, Migrant Wednesdays with me, Dana with the data. And guess what, guys? Because Foundation FBA, hashtag FBA social media trolls, honey, call themselves trying to cancel me. But bitch, how you going to cancel me when that's my lineage? ADOS is my lineage. Freedman is my lineage. Native is my lineage. Even the Mayflower is my lineage. So everything that evolved in this land is part of my lineage. So you can never cancel me. And with that, put Politics on Monday, Man Up Monday, Migrant Crisis Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to go live on Fridays and I'm going to take phone calls. And Fridays are going to be FBA Friday. Yes, all FBA business. Okay. All right. So let's get into it, honey, because Trump, he's not even trolling the Somalians. What is this? Trump is not even trolling these Somalians. Where I'm going to start at? I'm going to start here. Oh my God. And before I do start, Fannie Willis will face the music finally December 17th, and I will be streaming it live. Yes, I will be streaming it live. All right, so, and I'll get into that a little bit because we got to bring up Fannie Willis as well. So let me share, and we got to get into this. So this is Trump was speaking in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania. Honey, he's getting back on the campaign trail somewhat. This is the affordability trail, right? He's going out to speak to the people of America to talk about affordability because it's expensive as hell to live in America. And of course, he was talking about the Minnesota Somalian fraud, Ilhan Omar. And I want to play a couple of clips and let us react to it.
Would have been destroyed. But now Democrats in Congress want to take us straight back to the Bidenomics. You know, they don't change. And I don't really talk about it because, for instance, I watched a congressman the other day on a television show. They were interviewing a Democrat. He was fighting like hell for men to play in women's sports, okay? And I was going to put something out. I was going to he's a well-known congressman. And I said, you know, let's save it about 2 weeks before the election. Right, David? We don't want to do it now. what the hell good does it do now? Let's save it for about 2 weeks because we don't want them to change. Just let them keep going. I think transgender for all is a great, great thing for the Democrats to be talking about. Transgender for every member in your family. If they're not feeling well that night, let's just change their sex. Now, let's not talk about it. Let them go and let them fight to get these things. I think open borders are great, you know, where prisons are emptied into our country, right? Where people from all over the world being dumped into our country, the people that aren't wanted in their countries, by the way. I think that's a great, like Somalia. Welcome. Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand. That's for Minnesota, you know. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history. I love this Ilan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban. I love her.
I didn't like that part because, you know, well, if she's Muslim, that's her job, even though sometimes she do wear like a turban. But you know what? She's a politician. She could get it. And she could get trolled. She could get dragged. And that is what Trump is doing because that is her district that had over $1 billion in fraud, stealing American taxpayer dollars.
She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining. She comes from a country where, I mean, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military, they have no nothing, they have no parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing, they have no police. They police themselves. They kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get in, right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that? She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
Listen, he's not lying. Trump isn't lying. But one thing that he does masterfully, he knows his audience. He knows if I'm going to Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, the people who, the type of people that live there, I know how to speak to them. If he is in New York City, I know how to speak. And he's on Wall Street, I know how to speak to them. If he's in Georgia, if he's in California, it does not matter. He knows the room that he's in, and he knows how to speak to that crowd. You have to understand that. I'm learning that. It is a gift that you can actually master. He knows what to say to certain people, to certain groups. And it's with the same message. The delivery is just maybe a little bit different. But he knew that would get that support from the people in the crowds because, listen, they feel the same way I feel. He feels they what he is saying, that's what they're feeling and thinking. So he does that very masterfully. He knows how to not only read the room, but he knows how to get your attention and pull you in. Whether you like him or not, you have to admit that. But she did marry her brother. And here's the thing, and this is why Trump and other people, but particularly Trump and his administration, is going so hard towards Ilhan Omar in Minnesota and Tampon Tim. Democrats, the DNC, knew she married her brother to get her citizenship. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that. And said and did nothing. Kamala knew when she vetted Tampon Tim to be her running mate that it was a scandal in Minnesota. So the people in DC knew about what was going on in Minnesota and they allowed it to happen. Trump gets back into office, all that shit stops. It's stopping. No, you're not going to keep robbing us. They hated when Doge came in. They hated that because Doge was uncovering all of the stealing that was going on. So yeah, he is the troll chief, but he has a right to be, and he should be, because he cannot fire Ilhan Omar. I can't fire you. I can't relieve you from your position, but I am going to keep your name in my mouth. I am going to keep exposing you. I am going to keep trolling you. And I'm going to make sure that my administration keeps investing not only you, but that whole damn state from top to bottom. And I'm going to halt anyone coming in from Somalia wanting to come as a refugee or, asylum seeker. No, all that shit stops.
Powerball and Mega Millions will try to put me in jail.
I want to play another clip from the rally.
Consistently. I was just a...
And they also sent drugs. Yeah.
On Tim Walz, Mr. President, do you think he should resign over the fraud scandal in his state?
And who should?
Tim Walz, over the fraud scandal in his state.
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched JD destroy him in the debate. I was saying, who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field in this, the nomination. Anyway, look, that's up to them. That's up to the Democrats. The problem with them is they have really bad policy. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want them to change it necessarily, because I want to run against it. Whether it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody that's going to probably sitting at this table. Could be a couple of people sitting at this table. Could be a couple of people running together sitting at this table, But I want them to win because we've done a great job for this country, and I want that to be carried forward. And I think we have a tremendous bench, really a tremendous bench. But no, I think that Walz is a grossly incompetent man. There's something wrong with him. Okay, there's something wrong with him. And when you look at what he's done with Somalia, which is barely a country, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes. But this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off. And now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that, Scott. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
Yo, he goes hard in the damn paint. And let me see. Let me pull this one up.
So you want to launch your own?
And they also sent drugs.
Okay. Listen, Trump, he's not playing with these people. Part of his agenda during this second term of his is retribution. He's never going to forget, and he should not forget what the Democrats and even Republicans, some Republicans, what they did to him when he left office in 2020, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. After he left office in 2020, the lawsuits trying to impeach this man 2-3 times, federal lawsuits, federal indictments, state indictments. He's not going to forget. You talk about him being the chief of trolling. That's all they did. Democrats and even Republicans. They threw him under the bus and ran him over 100 times. And if we don't take it, whether you like him or not, whether you voted for Trump or not, if you don't take what he did, the comeback that he made, not only did he come back, but he dominated, conquered, decimated his enemies, and continued to do that. You have to understand that type of resilience. I'm studying that type of resilience, that type of strategy, organizing, making sure you have the right people around you that you can trust, that's really going to fight for you. So he's not letting up. It's going to get bad. It's going to get worse for all of you people out there that have been skimming and stealing from our American system. The American system here, it is kind of easy for people to take advantage of our system because we have so many damn laws on a state and federal level, so many loopholes, but the buck stops with Donald Trump. And that is exactly what he is displaying. No more. You're not going to keep taking advantage of this country. We're not going to keep supporting a whole bunch of countries, whether they're in Africa or in Europe. Hold your own nuts. Basically, that's what he's saying. And all of my enemies, I'm coming for you. But getting back to this Minnesota fraud thing,
well, a new Fox op-ed says Minnesota's $700 million to $1 billion fraud scandal exposes how Democrats built a system that was just designed to be robbed. Jason Rance wrote that op-ed, and he joins me now. Jason, we're beginning to see signs of this popping up elsewhere, and again, you know, I'm sure most of the Somali residents are fine people, but Somali fraudsters in Maine now are being exposed for doing the same damn thing. Again, there it's not as clear-cut and definitive as it turned out to be in Minnesota. But why was the system made to be frauded?
Well, the system was made to be frauded by not having any guardrails up. It was always intended to rubber stamp help for marginalized communities so that liberal or progressive local leaders can say, look what we're doing for the community. And of course, that community then responds by supporting them and keeping them in power. There is a lot of issue, I think, with ideological blinders on these individuals who, the second that you question even whether or not a program is going to be effective, you're immediately called a racist, which is precisely what happened when some people in Minnesota were like,
let me pause for 1 second. Nora, honey, she says, girl, stop. Fax news? You meant to add an E for fake news, dummy. Learn how to spell, especially if you want to try and get slick with a comment. Say E at the end for fake.
the numbers don't really match up. That you're saying at one of these sites where they're supposedly handing out meals, they're handing out like 6,000 a day to adults and children, when that particular city where the site was located only has a population of about 2,500. So it never really made sense, and anyone who said something was immediately dismissed. And then, of course, you've got the nonprofit industrial complex. If you're ever wondering, whether it's Minnesota or elsewhere, where these programs continue to get funded by groups that show no meaningful results, and yet their budgets continue to go up and up, it's because of the nonprofit industrial complex, where they make connections with these politicians and either give them direct or indirect support every single political season, so long as the budget continues to come in.
So the money comes from the taxpayers, from federal taxpayers in many cases, goes to these organizations, is fed to these organizations by the politicians, who are in turn fed by the organizations. It's a real circular event that's going on here.
Yeah, it's the circle of political life, I suppose. And of course, at the same time, when it comes to any deniability, a politician can just step up and say, well, we didn't know, we had no control, but now we're going to take it on really tough, which is what Tim Walz is doing. But this all happened because of a system that he helped to create and put in place.
100%. All right, next one for you, Jason. Iran and Egypt were chosen to play in the World Cup Pride match. Well, Iran now is reportedly objecting to playing in those two countries. Homosexuality is against the law. In 2022, the FIFA World Cup in Qatar cracked down on rainbow banners and pride messaging. How do you expect all this to go? A lot of...
Okay, so they're going into something else, which was rather interesting, but this is why I do like Fox News business. That is true. How did all this fraud happen? Our system can easily be manipulated, and you do it through nonprofits, the grants, getting contracts with the state and federal. It's like what do you call it? It's funneling. It's like a rabbit hole of funneling money through a lot of these nonprofits. And so when we look at the microcrisis having open borders when Biden and Harris was in office, so many nonprofit organizations were getting multi-million-dollar, even billion-dollar contracts, whether it's in healthcare, education, housing, food, transportation. They were getting millions and billions of dollars, nonprofit and some for-profit businesses. And a lot of that stuff was fraudulent. People pocket a lot of that money. It goes unaccounted for. So I'm glad that I'm glad that Trump is going hard on Ilion and the governor and the Somalian leaders in their community, is because this is the beginning of peeling back the onion of all the fraud and corruption that was going on under the Biden-Harris administration. The rabbit hole goes way deep.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by...
It's too many.
When I spent $49.
We start with President Trump's renewed focus on immigration after that deadly ambush in D.C. In a social media post, the president now threatening to ban people from what he has called third world countries. He's vowing to deport anyone who is, quote, incapable of loving our country or non-compatible with Western civilization. On top of that, Trump directed a U.S. immigration agency to conduct a sweeping review of people with green cards from so-called countries of concern. This all comes on the heels of that D.C. shooting on Wednesday that killed one National Guard troop and severely injured another. Officials say the suspected gunman was an Afghan national who worked with U.S. forces during the war in Afghanistan. NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins me now from West Palm Beach, Florida, where the president is spending his holiday weekend. So, Kelly, which countries are on this list that the president is targeting with these new policies? And it's one thing to say it, but another to actually carry it out. Tell us what you know so far.
Good afternoon, Vicki. This is a case where the administration has identified what they consider to be 19 countries of concern when it comes to this immigration issue. And they are from places around the globe. Certainly Afghanistan is within that group, and the president has already said he wants a broader review of all the Afghans who came into the country under the Biden administration. But it goes beyond that. You have Iran, you have Cuba, you have Venezuela, you have other countries around the globe where there have been hostilities with the United States.
Let me pause it right there real quick, because out of all these countries, I really only want to visit one, and that's Cuba. And I already been there, and I love that country, Cuba. And I do plan on going back. All these other countries, Americans, we don't visit to vacation or to travel from. So we ain't missing nothing. Venezuela, no. Yemen, no. Iran, I heard Iran was beautiful, but no. Haiti, Labadee, I'll go to that part of Haiti, but no. Sierra Leone, ain't nobody going to no damn Congo or Chad, or damn sure ain't nobody going to Afghanistan. Somalia, nobody was going there. Nobody was going to Sudan, no. Eritrea, no. We're not missing nothing.
But you're right.
And if you notice, these countries, a lot of terrorists come out of these countries as well. Not all, but most of these countries.
Something on social media, and the president's rhetoric around immigration is not the same as actually having a specific plan and a specific policy related to this. So we don't yet know how this would work. The green cards, of course, require check-in with federal authorities, and so the United States is in touch with people who possess a green card, and what kinds of scrutiny they will undergo with this, we don't yet know. But those green card holders from those countries could expect some additional screening or questions from the representatives of the Immigration Service. So that's where we start with this, the president responding to the shooting in D.C. of the guardsman, and the fact that the suspect in that is an Afghan national who was awarded asylum and came into the country through the Biden-era program and then approved for that asylum once the Trump administration was underway. And the White House says that that was something they could not prevent because of the requirements under the Biden program. That's why there's some pressure being put on the former administration, criticism rather, on the former administration.
It should be criticized because the former administration allowed for first of all, the former administration, Biden, ended the Afghan, pulled out of Afghanistan, the troops. And then if we all remember that scene at the airport with thousands of the men leaving behind their women and children, climbing on outside of the plane while the plane was taking off, jumping in planes to leave. And you allow them to come here, set them up in their little migrant camps, gave them money and all these other resources. And now you got one of them running around here shooting National Guard, and one of the National Guards died. They didn't screen none of these people, none of these so-called asylum seekers that left Afghanistan to come here. They didn't screen none of them. The Biden-Harris administration did not screen any refugee, any asylum seekers, any illegals. They literally had open border, open air, open trains, open water. They just let any and everybody come here and did not screen these people at all. Thank you, Chief Rocka. Guys, please hit the like button. Please share. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Yeah.
In the wake of the National Guard shooting, the Trump administration now says that they have paused immigration applications for people from 19 countries. That includes requests for green cards and U.S. citizenship. The policy applies to the nations listed in the president's travel ban that was issued back in June. On that list are Haiti and Somalia, frequent targets of Trump's anti-immigration rhetoric. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya.
Now, and so this is why, and this is actually regurgitating the same thing from the pre, because this is CBS, right? And CBS, ABC, NBC, what they do is they are anti-Trump, they are liberal, they are left, they are Democrats. And you heard him say, oh, his immigration rhetoric. It's not rhetoric. What are you talking about? And here's another thing where I don't understand is, are we dumbfounded? Like, do we have amnesia to where this last administration literally allowed over 10 million illegals, not asylum seekers, not refugees? They were all illegals. They did not vet none of these people. First of all, you let too many people come in, so you don't even have the infrastructure and the manpower to vet these millions of people. We had open air, open water, and open border. So why is it that when Trump is speaking out against it is rhetoric? That is poor news reporting. Yes, JoJo, they were hanging on the wings, honey. And of course they ended up dropping to their death. And it's like, hold up. And only thing, and Biden said, okay, we're going home. Bye. It was no exit strategy. It was no exit plan, which is kind of fishy. I'm going to have to reach out to someone who is an expert with the Afghan-American war to do a deep dive. What was the real reason behind Biden just waking up one day and telling the U.S. troops, okay, it's time to go home, get up out of there. Just like that, with no type of strategy. This little light of mine. There's too many goddamn commercials.
Administration will soon expand its immigration crackdown to Charlotte, North Carolina, and New Orleans. Sources tell CBS News Border Patrol agents could head to Charlotte as early as next week.
Oh no,
Operations.
First of all, people from Somalia are not garbage. That's not a biased statement. That's not partisan. That's not anti-Trump statement. It's not a political statement. It is simple, factual, a human statement. But let's sit with this for just a moment. That word, garbage, and think about what it means. Garbage is something you don't want around. Garbage is something disposable. Garbage is something you throw away, you discard. Garbage is worthless. Garbage is how the President of the United States characterizes Somali people, all Somalis. Presumably, that includes Somali-Americans. Now, the president says the entire nation of Somalia is garbage. And this is not overstating it. It's actually worth hearing again exactly how the president put it on 2 occasions this week.
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. The Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. They complain and do nothing but bitch. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, that's applause at the end there. Well, now this. A new ICE operation launched this week is targeting undocumented Somali immigrants in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. The Twin Cities are home to the nation's largest population of people from the East African country. The president's rhetoric and actions are being called xenophobic, racist. It's also a complete contrast from how the president felt about Somalis when he needed their votes.
Minnesota is home to a large Somali population, which has historically voted Democrat. But we're hearing more and more. There are many reports about them supporting your candidacy this time around. But why should they?
Because they want safety. They want security. In many ways, they have the worst crime numbers in terms of crimes against. And they want to be safe. They want security just like everybody else. And I've heard that. I've heard I'm doing very well in that community. And in the Black community also. I mean, generally, it's an honor.
Well, my next guest is a Somali-American, specifically one of those Somali-American Republicans you see there on the right side of the screen who gave their support to the president. He was at this July 2024 rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can see him at this event with Minnesota Somali leaders giving their endorsement in November of last year, right before the election. Salman Fiki is with us now. He's a business owner and a former GOP candidate for the Minnesota State House. Salman, thank you for being with me. Quote, "We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage." The president was talking about Somali immigrants. You are Somali American. What's your reaction to what you heard from the president this week?
Well, it was very dehumanizing and is very unpresidential coming from the commander-in-chief of the United States to dehumanize and to dehumanize a whole entire community by calling them garbage. And this is not acceptable by any means.
You posted on social media, "I, Salman Fiki, am formally announcing that I'm ending all collaboration with the Republican Party." Have you ended your support for the president? Tell me more about what led you to your decision.
Well, the reason why this decision came about is because it was long. It was a long simmering, as it was dragging from ever since the president got elected. So, and I was monitoring his performance in many fronts, and he seems not delivering on the promises that he promised the country or the people that actually voted for him. So, and the last that broke the camel back was when he called Somali community as a garbage.
Do you regret?
I could tell he's lying. He's reading off some talking points from a paper because Trump is what he voted on. Trump is delivering what he was running on. And the number one thing that why a lot of people who were Democrats and voted for him, who were black men, black women and voted for him, it's because, and immigrants voted for him, it's because of the migrant crises in the economy. And is he delivering so far? Yes. In under 12 months? Yes. So I'm like, he's lying right here. But I get it. If you change your stance and not supporting Trump as a Republican Somalian, because he called your people garbage in your country that you originated from garbage, I get that. I accept that. Okay. But it's not a lot of y'all anyway. So it is what it is.
Regret your vote for President Trump?
No, I don't regret my vote that I voted for Trump because where I see politics, I see politics through conservative prism, and I still have conservative values, and I see politics through that lens. But I withdraw all connections from the Minnesota GOP, from the Republican Party, for not standing up for the Somali community.
Yeah, let me actually play something from Minnesota Republican Congressman Tom Emmer. This is after the president's remarks.
Do you realize that, it's not that all Somalis are committing crimes, but 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities in Minnesota are being committed by Somalis?
His office referenced reporting on pandemic relief fraud. But what's your response to the congressman there saying that 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities in Minnesota are from Somali Americans?
That's false and unsubstantiated claim. Somalis in the Twin Cities are 80,000 to 100,000 people live in the Twin Cities. So, and the Twin Cities combined are 2 million people roughly. So the 100,000 people cannot commit 80% of the crimes in the Twin Cities. So that's a false statement, and and he's known for accusing Somali community.
Well, I'm sorry because they do have a Somali section where it's nothing but Somalians. 90% are Somalians. Somalians, I don't know if they're the majority of Minneapolis, because Minneapolis, that is considered a twin city. And I believe that's probably a very big city. So if they're not committing 80% of the crime overall, they're committing 80% of the crime in their section of that city. Because if you are 90% of the demographic in your district, and you can have 2 or 3 districts, and if you're 80 to 90% of the demographic, then majority of the criminals are going to be of that demographic. But again, I'm curious and I'm going to do some research because I want to know, okay, so if it's not you Somalians, are you trying to say it's black people? Or I don't know how many white people live in Minneapolis. So if it's not you guys committing majority of the crime, well, who is? And see, the Somalians, they want to be black when it benefits them. Other than that, they don't run around here claiming to be black. They claim to be Somalian. They claim to be Somalian immigrants, Somali-Americans, not black Americans. So he's saying that that's not true. That number is false. We're not even 80% of the population. You are 90% of the population in your district. So CNN always bring up skewed numbers. And I don't got to finish. We don't got to finish listening to the rest of this because I want to go into this clip.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I
saying
wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? That beautiful land, that beautiful state. It's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country, and without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
So the mayor is even saying that they have the largest Somalian community. So again, I'm going to actually do some research and pull up the numbers. What is the percentage of Somalians that live in Minneapolis, Twin City? What group of people commit the most crimes in that city? And then I'm going to highlight what is the percentage of crimes in the Somalian communities there. Because we're not going to sit up here and act like, oh, these people, you know, all Somalians don't commit crimes. Well, they just committed over 100 of them just committed one of the biggest crimes, and that's stealing over $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion in state and federal money, sending it back to Somalia, supporting terrorist organizations, allegedly, buying fancy cars, mansions. Yeah. So let us not, this is not, oh, we hate Somalians. No, but let's keep it a buck here. Stop running around here acting like you're so innocent. Because if your people was so good and so innocent, you know, and so loving and working together, and non-violent, then your country wouldn't be in shambles. Stop and don't sit up here and blame, oh, America, we invaded Somalia. No, because the government in Somalia was corrupt, which means the people learn from that corruption and take that corruption to other countries, i.e. here, and repeat the same type of corruption here. And it's easier to do here. So let's not fantasize or romanticize that Somalians and Somalia is so loving and so wonderful, and you doing us the favor by being here. See, everybody is walking around here as if you're doing America the favor. And you're not. It's just that the way our laws are set up, we allow our laws, it's easy to, I don't want to say allow, but it's easy for people to take advantage, manipulate, cheat, scam our system because the way our laws and public policies are made up. Listen, a lot of wealthy Americans do it every day, cheat the system. Our government here is set up to where it's, if you're smart enough or clever enough, you don't have to be the smartest person, but if you're clever enough, you can easily cheat the system. And when you come from a country that is filled with corruption by your government, you are taught how to cheat the system to get ahead.
To President Trump and this attack in our community, we understand that you are here to divide us, to create fear amongst us, and to selectively target the blackest immigrant and Muslim community in this great state. President Trump has had a history of targeting black people long before he ever ran for any office.
So now you're black. Now you're black. What his, and this is the thing, show me and tell me the history of Donald Trump targeting Black Americans. I can't find it. Educate me in the comment section. Put some links in the comment section. Put some bullet points in the comment section and give me some facts of when Donald Trump targeted Black Americans. Because all of a sudden now, you Somalians are black. You never called yourself black. You really don't even want to call yourself an American.
And we know that the identity of who we are is part of the attack. And also as being Muslims and being immigrants. In fact, we know in our community we have some of the smallest number of undocumented Somali-Americans. Majority of us are U.S. citizens, even a majority of even that born in the United States.
Yes. Most of Somalians are documented, are citizens, and that is because American government under Bush, under Obama, allowed it. And Gojay, you're right. It is money laundering migration settlement, a Somali satellite state for Somalia. We allow a pathway for people in Somalia, that Somalians, to get refugee, asylum, and citizenship here in America because of the war, i.e. Black Hawk Down. So that is why it was so easy for Somalians to come here and become citizens very fast. No, Muslim or not. But now when they start saying black, he has a problem targeting black people here in America. Number one, you can't prove it. Number two, I'm telling you he never did. Number three, you're not black because y'all don't even check black on the census. Either you're checking other or immigrant or white. Make no mistake about it. A lot of immigrants, no matter where they come from, are allowed to check white. But all of a sudden, now that you are on the Summer Jam screen, getting trolled and called out and investigated for your corruption in Minnesota, Somalians, now it's your time to be put on Front Street. You want to revolt back to, oh, I'm black and you're discriminating against me and you're being a bigot, you're being a racist. No, sir.
What we see today that's happening in Minneapolis is the authoritarian nature of this government and acting as a third world nation by targeting lawful U.S. citizens. We should be ashamed of that. This is a moment for all of us. And in this moment, we ask for everyone to show their humanity and to show love in the face of hate. And I know this moment will pass, but history will remind us of what we did in this moment.
Yeah. And what is reminding us is we need to make sure that these immigrants are not coming over here trying to steal and scam and corrupt this nation. Authoritarian? Are you serious? Was this authoritarian nation when you were allowed to come here by the millions and set up shop? All of a sudden now Trump is targeting you now because you're black, because you're Muslim, because you're an immigrant. He's a dictator. This now all of a sudden this is an authoritarian country. All of these negatives. Now all of a sudden is all of these negatives because it was exposed. You guys were exposed for stealing and scamming billions, over a billion, billions in dollars. I don't understand that. But I'm really don't understand, sir, why are you calling yourself black? You're not a black American.
To President Trump and the base that is attacking our community, we understand that you are here to divide us, to create fear amongst us, and to selectively target the blackest immigrant and Muslim community in this great state. President Trump has had a history of targeting black people long before he ever ran for any office.
That's a lie. Actually, I'm coming out with a video. Discussing how Trump has helped Black Americans than any other person. Well, he's one of the people. How he actually always has helped Black Americans, not harm, not target. But again, sir, like, you're not black. Stop it.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis will.
Okay. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. They're African. They're saying they're African. They're not Black Americans. And this is why I don't subscribe to the African American identity. Let me put myself up there. They are not African American in the same way African American. And this is why I don't call myself African American. I am a Black American. I don't say foundational. I don't say EDOS. I use those terms so that you people, the masses, can understand what I'm talking about when I'm being specific. But I am a Black American. Actually, let me go back a little bit.
to President Trump.
He is not a Black American. He is Somali American. He is an immigrant. He would be considered an African American, not me. Elon Musk is an African American. Immigrants never claim Black. You don't. Now, when the big bad wolf is blowing down your house, you want to be, oh, he's targeting Black immigrants. And you heard him, his opening statement, the blackest immigrant. And he has a history of terrorizing Black Americans, of targeting Black Americans. So now you want to lump us together. Before Trump even put the flashlight on Somalians, you weren't thinking about uniting. Oh my God. Uniting with Black people. I got too much shit over here. Water. All right. I'm good. This damn phone thing. Damn it. Okay, here I go. Sorry, guys. You weren't talking about uniting with us. So you're not Black. You are African American, but you don't claim none of that. So what I'm saying is stick to what you've been doing. Stick to being Somalian, because you're Somalian first. Eliana Omar, she said that hundreds of times. She is Somalian first. Her allegiance is to Somalia, not here. She's using our politics, our government, our money, the status here to empower her country, Somalia. So you guys come here and you use the resources here, and we allow it so that you can send it back home and empower your people in your country back home, Somalia. And now that Trump is calling you out, and now that Trump is saying no more, oh, he's a racist, he's this, he's that. They're not separating no one. They're not dividing. The Trump administration is not separating. The Trump administration is not dividing. You guys choose to divide and separate amongst yourself, because immigrants come here and they create their own community. They create their own little ecosystem. They stay together. They live together. They do business together. They go to school together. They go to their religious services together. You guys separate yourself automatically. You never claimed, you never wanted to be a part of Black Americans. So let's just keep it a buck.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis.
So here's the last thing I want to talk about today. Fanny. Yeah. They say, I am not Black. I am Somali. Yeah. And good. You stay there. Stay that way. Just don't utter Black. Don't say the word Black now that you're being targeted by the big bad wolf. Stay Somali. Don't claim Black. I'm Black. I'm Black American. You're not. And we want to keep it that way. All right, so let's go to Fanny. Honey, Fanny has to face the music. Finally. Finally. And I'm here for it.
Attorney Fonnie Willis will testify before a panel of state senators investigating her now defunct election case against President Donald Trump. They've been trying to get her in for more than a year now, but the DA claimed they didn't have the authority. On the same day the case was on the docket of the state Supreme Court, the DA said, I'll come to testify. It was a stunning turnaround, and political reporter Doug Reardon is live at the courthouse to explain what happened. Doug?
You said it, Blair. It was stunning. We did not expect this to happen, and that's because District Attorney Fani Willis has been fighting subpoena after subpoena from this committee for almost a year and a half now. She has not come in as they have really wanted her to. And even though that election case was thrown out just 2 weeks ago, state senators who sit on that panel say there is still plenty to hear from the district attorney.
This is moot. This case is moot.
Former Georgia Governor and Fani Willis attorney Roy Barnes is confused. With the DA's election case being tossed out just 2 weeks ago, he's not sure why a panel of mostly Republican state senators still want to hear from his client.
Here you got this committee, got 3 people on this committee running for statewide office, and they're putting out fundraising says we're going to go after Fani Willis and you need to send me $100. I mean, that's ridiculous.
For over a year, Willis has fought their attempts to haul her in for questioning. But on the day the state Supreme Court had the case before them, Willis agreed to testify. She'll do so on December 17th. It was a stunning turnaround. Barnes said scheduling and medical issues prevented him from coming in to represent her all this time. Willis failed to show up for a scheduled testimony in 2024, but said she will honor the newest subpoena issued this year. The panel says they want to hear more about her relationship with the top prosecutor on the election case, Nathan Wade, and how the case may have financially benefited both of them.
We want to ensure this never happens again in the state of Georgia.
State Senator Greg Dolezal, who is on the committee and is one of the members running for higher office, said even though the case is gone, they can still learn a lot from Willis's testimony as long as she shows up.
I hope she'll show up. She was committed to showing up before and did not show up. And we need to ensure that Lady Justice indeed keeps her blindfold on. In this case, the blindfold was removed for political and personal ambition.
Barnes says it's all in bad faith.
If they disqualify every member of the General Assembly that has a romantic relationship with a secretary or a lobbyist, you're not going to be able to have a quorum next session.
Listen, okay, he's telling the truth. A lot of people sleep with one another at work. That's one of the probably the number one hookup spots is work. People meet at work. You see them every day. You're going to end up sleeping with a colleague. I get it. But you don't sleep with someone you are doing this case with. Like, no, this is an active case. Why don't go screw when the case is won? And then on top of that, not only are you screwing your colleague, you hired the colleague. You gave the colleague salary. So it's like you're paying for sex, sexual harassment, all types of violation. Because you're not supposed to fraternize with your employee. You're not, as an employer. See, and that's the difference. You hired that man. You brought him on this case, gave him millions of dollars, and you was screwing him and going on vacation under the thumb of taxpayers' dollars. So, okay, Roy Barnes, yeah, you would not have a quorum if people who were screwing each other were not allowed. But this is different. Because the people that he's talking about having sex with a colleague, they weren't hired by the colleague they were screwing. They weren't paid a salary by the colleague they were screwing. So it is a difference. It is a cutoff point.
If they disqualify every member of the General Assembly that has a romantic relationship with a secretary or a lobbyist, you're not going to be able to have a quorum next session.
And so romantic relationship, as opposed to the boss hiring someone and then screwing them, are two different things. I've had an office romance, but the person I had an office romance did not hire me and was not paying my salary. That's the difference. That's a no-no. You cannot do that. And if you are having a romantic relationship, you have to report that to your manager. You have to report that to your manager or whoever is your boss. that's in the contracts now when you sign, whether it's state job, public, private, it doesn't matter. So you cannot fraternize at work, especially when you're the boss writing the checks.
And Governor Barnes is not one known to hold back. And an important note here, this Senate committee cannot actually discipline Willis. All they can do is construct a report to go back to the General Assembly when they reconvene in about a month's time, and they can consider making changes to state law around district attorneys and prosecutors. Outside the state Supreme.
And that's what we want. That is what we want. We want her on camera. We want her on camera again, talking about her sexcapades, how much money she paid Wade. We want her to talk about her relationship, her relations with Wade. We want to see her in front of the cameras, because this is going to be live with microphone at hand. And I hope she coming in with hand on hip. That's what we want. We want to see her admit that they started their affair before or after. Because it doesn't, if you started before, that's bad. If you started after, that's bad too. Because you cannot hire someone because you're sleeping with them. And you cannot hire someone, you cannot sleep with somebody after you hire them. Either way is bad. And we want the tea. We want the tea. We want the gossip. We want the details. We want you held accountable. And we want a report of the trail of the money. What did you do with the money? We want her held accountable, and we want it on record. And then Trump administration, Trump DOJ is going to come in and then pick up that investigation. Yes. And I will say this, as far as Fani Willis, the way we want her held accountable going forward, other DAs and public officials should be held accountable as well. Whether they were going after Trump or not. Fraud is fraud. Inappropriate is inappropriate. Stealing is stealing. Corruption is corruption. Everybody needs to be held accountable. She's just the first batter up. Hi, Auntie. Yeah, we want to see their black love exhibitionists. All right. That's it. That's it for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thank you again, Chief Rocka, for the lovely super chat. Guys, I will be live Friday night, opening up the phone lines. I want you guys to call in. We're doing FBA Fridays. FBA Fridays. And every Friday it'll be a live call-in. And it's going to be a good show. And I'm going to be in the long way. I'm going to be in landscape. I'm not going to be in portrait short form. So Friday's show will be in long form landscape. And I'm going to be taking your calls. And we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about all FBA business. But all of you, all of my white, brown, foreign subscribers and listeners, supporters and haters, you're all welcome. You're all welcome, honey. This is not a black show. This is a show for the people. All right. Thank you, Sister T. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Rax. That I shared this. Yes. Go, Jay. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you on Friday. And check out, I have a video premiering tonight at 9 p.m. Jasmine Crockett talking about reparations. Ciao. All right, guys. Have a good day. Bye.